And now it's time for the Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Michael Best Strategies.
Hi, I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the Insiders. And this week we're talking about the 3rd Congressional District, which is important to us here in Wisconsin because it's really one of the only seats in the state that is competitive in this fall's elections. But it's also part of the national conversation about whether or not the Republicans are going to be able to take over the United States House. A lot of polling suggests that the Republicans will, in this midterm year, as is usually the case with the president, be able to dramatically increase their numbers as the party in opposition and perhaps even capture the majority in the U.S. House. If that's to happen, the 3rd Congressional District is a seat the Republicans have to win. So, Chuck, how do you see that race playing out in Western Wisconsin?
Well, I think the Democrats, as you saw in the primary, they overwhelmingly brought Brad Pfaff through the primary. And Brad has a lot of history with that district. He was endorsed by Ron Kind, who was the moderate who was able to hold on to that seat. He served as the Agriculture Secretary for the state and actually made a lot of strong points with people in the agricultural community by recognizing early on the mental health challenges that they were facing during the tough times that had hit the farm economy in the state of Wisconsin. I think that he's built up an awful lot of goodwill, not just with the people of La Crosse and the larger communities, Eau Claire, that are in the district, but with rural areas as well. I think that he's facing probably an opponent who actually will get a tremendous amount of support from the Trump wing. He was there on January 6th. It's not a good place to be, in my view, if you believe in democracy. And I think that the problem that Van Orden's going to have is he's going to be running from the right. And yes, rural America has gone more to the right, but I don't think they've gone that far. And Western Wisconsin is a swing area. I think this is a good example, and Scott's talked about this previously on other sections, that, if this is a wave year for Republicans, that seat cannot be saved. I think that that's something that we all realize. But I think that that's changing. Gas prices are going down. I think people are looking more at individual cases. I think that in this case, Brad Pfaff has made a lot of great inroads. He spent a lot of years over there. I think that Brad Pfaff will win that seat and buck the trend, but that only happens if this isn't a wild wave year. But I don't think it's going to end up there. And I'll tell you what, I'll go back to what I've said on other races. Abortion is going to be a key race here, key factor here. This is rights of people taken away now. And in Wisconsin, they were taken away now because of a 170-year-old law. And it sets up a situation where abortion is criminalized, even if your daughter has been raped. She's going to be required to take that pregnancy to term. People do not like that when government does that. And in this case, government is going to be the Van Ordens of the world, and they are not going to buy that. And Brad Pfaff is a steady hand. People will understand he's a reasonable moderate. I think that's going to stand him in good stead.
Well, I think Brad Pfaff is the best candidate the Dems could nominate in this seat, no doubt. I mean, he represents already a portion of it as a state senator. Family's well known from the area, and his service as Secretary of Agriculture is likely to help him as well. But Derek Van Orden is a candidate who's strong enough that he almost beat the long-term incumbent Ron Kind, a moderate Democrat who was well liked by people on both sides of the aisle. He almost beat him last time, and since then, the map has gotten better for Republicans. And of course, the electoral environment is much better for Republicans. There will be a backlash, as there always is, to a presidential administration at the midterms. This is the sort of seat, a swing seat, essentially, where you see those backlashes occur. I think the election is going to be about issues in that state. It's going to be about not only the economy, and I don't think it's as sunny as you suggest, but I also think it's going to be about cultural differences. And it won't be Brad Pfaff's cultural values. It'll be the values of Nancy Pelosi and Biden that Van Orden is running against. And the last thing is, I think he earns a lot of, Derek Van Orden earns a lot of respect from people for his military service. He served for 26 years. He served in combat in 3 different war zones during the time he was there. And he ended up being a senior SEAL leader before he departed. And then he comes back La Crosse area, or to Prairie du Chien area, actually. And now, they've got the local cafe and they've got a little farm, and he's part of the community, and he almost won last time. I just think the odds are overwhelming that Derek Van Orden is the next congressman in the 3rd Congressional District.
When you take away the rights of people and it's right in front of their face, something as serious as abortion, I think the Republicans are the dog that caught the car. And I think that will be a major factor. And I think you combine that with Brad Pfaff, who's a steady hand and people respect. I think he's going to do very well, but we'll see. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Michael Best Strategies.